Peace and blessings is real. First and foremost, want to take this time and give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh through His only begotten Son, Yahushua, for allowing this word to come out. And I hope you sincere brothers and sisters is edified by this word. And the name of the lesson is called The Gift of Spiritual Knowledge and Wisdom Only Brings You Pain and Suffering. Let me say it again, man. The gift of spiritual knowledge and wisdom only brings you pain and suffering, man. Yeah, this is going to be a cold-blooded word, a sobering word to you sincere brothers and sisters out there, man. When me and my bro, when we first came into the gospel, man, over 7 years ago, we was just excited to be a part of it. We was excited to have our eyes open and know we wasn't in the dark no more, and knew that we were in the light, and knew that we were in the knowledge, so to speak. We never factored that the downside, I should say, and I know, to even say a downside to being in the truth, I know that sounds outrageous, but let's just say it this way. When we first came in, we underestimated what all came with this spiritual knowledge and wisdom. Of course, yeah, it's great to have spiritual knowledge. It's great to have spiritual wisdom. It's awesome. But then, on the flip side, pain and suffering comes with that. And we had to learn the hard way, okay? It's not like somebody told us when we signed up, this is what come with. This is something that you're going to find out on your own. And so in this word, man, I want to speak about sorrow, because sorrow is definitely something that you're going to deal with. If you're a spiritual person, there is no way you can get around sorrow. There's absolutely no way. In this life, man, especially in this spiritual walk, you're going to deal with sorrow. You can't get around sorrow. You're going to have to deal with it. And me and my bro, we constantly deal with sorrow every day, all day. And it's to the point where it can be overbearing. It's to the point where it can really mentally and physically wear you out. So in this word, man, we're going to deal with sorrow because, again, the gift of spiritual knowledge and wisdom, it only brings you pain and suffering, man. And we're going to come to you in Ecclesiastes 1, verse 18. And it says, "For much in wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow." You see that? I mean, that's plain, it's clear. I mean, you really don't have to break that down, man. But let's just go over it again. Ecclesiastes 1 and 18, it says, For in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. I mean, come on, man. So when we're talking about wisdom, what type of wisdom are we talking about? The knowledge and fear of Yahweh is an example of the wisdom we're talking about. The wisdom we're talking about is being obedient to Yahweh's laws, statutes, and commandments. That's the wisdom we're speaking of. What wisdom are we speaking of? The spiritual faculty of mind. For in much wisdom, okay, is what? Much grief, much vexation, much frustration, much irritation. You see that? So think about it. The more wisdom you get, the more vexed you're going to be, the more frustrated you're going to be, the more irritated you're going to be. You see that? And guess why? Because it says, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. So he that increases spiritual understanding, he that increases spiritual intelligence, he that increases spiritual discernment, the more that he increased that, he's also going to increase the pain of his soul, man. So you got to say to yourself, why have the gift of spiritual knowledge and wisdom if you only going to suffer and deal with pain? You see, most people will say, well, you know what? If pain and suffering got to come with wisdom and knowledge, I'd rather not have it. But see, no, me and my bro wouldn't have it no other way but the way that it is. You see, think of it this way. Wisdom and knowledge cannot become, okay, without the great pain of your body and soul, your body and mind. So wisdom and knowledge, all right, there's no way you can obtain that and not deal with the great pain of body and mind. They go hand in hand, man. You see, because when a man attained the highest things in life at the same time, his mind is never going to be fully content. Why? Because of the pain, suffering, sorrow, which means there's no true happiness, man. So why even try to enjoy or partake in having the gift of spiritual knowledge and wisdom when it only brings you pain and suffering, man? Again, what's the name of the lesson? The gift of spiritual knowledge and wisdom only brings you pain and suffering. And in Ecclesiastes 1:18, it tells you, for in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increases sorrow, man. That's cold-blooded, man. That's cold-blooded. And we got the precept to Ecclesiastes 1:18 is Ecclesiastes 2:23. It says, for all his days are sorrows, and his travail grief. Yea, his heart taketh no rest in the night. This is also vanity. So you see that? So the days of his labor are filled with pain and grief. Even at night his mind cannot rest. It is all meaningless. And me and my bro, we experiencing this, man. And like I said, when we first came into this thing, man, we thought it was all sweet. But see, you know, it's man, listen, man. Dude, having spiritual knowledge and wisdom, man, it's like you in a lonely place because you see certain things that other people can't see. You have a gift that you can't really share because people gonna think you crazy because they can't hear or see what you talking about. So that also brings you pain and suffering because you could walk up to a person and say, hey bro, man, you know, turn right, don't turn left, you know, and they'll think you crazy. And then something will happen in life and they'll be like, man, okay, that's what dude was talking about. See, a lot of times, man, when you have the gift of spiritual knowledge and wisdom, man, it helps you navigate your steps, your paths in the right direction. So when you see that you have the ability to operate that way, of course, what do you want to do? You want to offer that. You want to share that, man, to others, man, because we was on the other side. So when you're privy to a certain discernment, when you're privy to certain information, when you're privy to certain spirits, man, and you're able to see things, then obviously you want to give some insight to people, man, because you see what they don't see, and you know they're gonna run smack into a wall if you don't want them, man. So again, what's the name of the lesson, man? The gift of spiritual knowledge and wisdom only brings you pain and suffering, man. Yeah, man. You know, having the gift of spiritual knowledge and wisdom, man, it's like a lonely place, man. Yeah. What you see on the screen, man, this is symbolic to what's a good way to put it? This is very symbolic to the pain of the soul, aka sorrow. You see, just want to be somewhere dark with a candle lit, just meditating, man, and trying to find that medication that's going to get you by, man. Again, as we get ready to close out this word, in Ecclesiastes 1:18, it says, "For in much wisdom is much grief." Okay? So the more knowledge and fear of Yahweh, the more you are obedient to the Lord's commandments, statutes, okay? The more of your mind, your faculty, your spiritual, the more spiritual faculty of your mind that you get, the more vexation gonna come, the more frustration gonna come, the more irritation is gonna come. So think about that. Think about that. If you knew grief, if you knew vegetation, if you knew frustration, if you knew irritation came with the gift of spiritual knowledge and wisdom, you wouldn't want that. Okay? It says what in Ecclesiastes 1:18? It says, "For in much wisdom is grief, and he that increaseth knowledge, he that increaseth his spiritual understanding, his spiritual intelligence, his spiritual discernment." The more that he increased that, he's also going to increase the pain of his soul, which is sorrow, man. Cold-blooded, man. Cold-blooded. So what am I saying, man? The more that you obtain spiritual knowledge and wisdom, it's only going to bring you pain and suffering, man. And like I said before, wisdom and knowledge, you can't obtain that without experiencing the great pain of your body and mind, man. Yeah. So the fact that you got both of those being parallel to one another, you'll never be fully content, man. And you'll never be in true happiness, because it's almost like the gift and the curse, man. The gift is the spiritual wisdom and knowledge, and the curse is grief and sorrow. That's cold, man. It's cold-blooded. I hope you sincere brothers and sisters was edified by this word. We give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh through his only begotten Son, Yahushua, for allowing this word to come out. Shalom.